talk about these things. All right, here, who's hungry? All right, is anybody hungry? I know I'm hungry. I was a little concerned. We're going to do an interview right now with Chef Melodie Mel Asseraf. She's a two-time champion of Food Network's hit show, Chopped. Now, I just got off the phone and everybody's telling me how super duper you are. They're all Chopped fans. And I'll be frank with you, I don't I'm afraid to watch a food show because then I got to eat like within 5 minutes of watching it. But how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for having me.
So, what was the first time that you thought about considering becoming a chef? Is it a chef? Are you a chef? Would you consider yourself a chef?
I've earned that title. I am a pastry chef.
All righty. And so, when were you like 2 years old, 1 year old, 6 years old? What was it?
I would say that's ever since I was little, I was born in Paris and most of my family still lives in Paris. And my great grandparents actually lived at the Plaza in Paris for about 40 years.
Ooh la
And
la.
why not, right? And so some of the best memories I have as a kid was going to visit them at this very fancy hotel and kind of being able to play in the kitchen with the chefs and learning about food and learning about baking. And they would just give me a piece of dough to kind of just roll around and, make into cookies and such. And I was just like, oh, this is so nice. This is so fun. You get to create something yummy and makes people happy. And I was just like, I love this. But I come from a family of, basically all doctors and lawyers. So when I told my mom I wanted to be a pastry chef, she was like, that's nice. You're going to college. And so I was like, okay. So I went to Northeastern in Boston uh,
Oh,
for business and marketing. And then when I got out of college, went back to New York, I was like, well, now can I go to culinary school? Like, now can I be a chef? They were like, you still want to do this? Like, I was like, yes, I still want to do this. So that at that point I went to the French Culinary Institute in New York for baking and for bread making, and I just never looked back.
so different kinds of foods, and you have a book. Everybody's got to get sweet treats from brownies to brioche. Is that how you say that?
Brioche, yes. So basically, though, the whole fun part about the title is that no matter what you're making, whether it's brownies, box brownies, or brioche, which are a very kind of more fancy bread, like French bread, and rich French bread because it has a lot of butter. You use the same techniques and you can elevate any baking. And so that's kind of like what the book is really about. It's about learning the building blocks to fundamentally becoming a confident baker that will allow you to have the tools and the skill set to create any recipe you want.
Wowie zowie. Okay. Well, this is so. Tell us some of the things. I was afraid to do this interview with this word brownies. What I was trying to say earlier on. I mean, it's not even lunchtime now. Just the word brownies and brioche. I'm like out of my mind. So
Well, wait till you look at the photography. The photography in
it's
the book is
gorgeous.
pretty amazing.
The book is beautiful. I have looked. We got a copy. I ate the
Yeah.
book. I'll tell you. There's no more book. It's inside of me. The
Yeah.
uh, the but why baking? Why baking is what is it about baking? Because people say I can cook. I mean I can cook too. I love to cook, but
Yeah. So
I can't. I don't think I never tried baking. I'm
So
afraid.
I can cook, obviously. I grew up doing big Shabbat dinners, Jewish in the family. And so my dad being Moroccan, born in Casablanca, we've always had amazing like tagines and really, really fantastic food. And so for me, my passion really came from baking because I like how specific it is. I like that you have to follow every single step, and that if you do, you're going to like what you make. While in cooking, you kind of just add a little bit, taste a little bit, try it. And if it's good, okay. If not, you add a little something. If you do that in baking, you're in trouble. You know, if you add a little more flour, a little more sugar, it's not going to come out. Baking is a science. And so I think the simplest way to answer that is in a time in my life where I got very sick and where things were no longer clear to me, and I struggled to understand everything that was going on. Baking was like my pillar, my fundamental, and it was like everybody has a busy life, everybody has ups and downs and hard days, and if you follow a recipe to the T, you can guarantee at least that little bit of success in that day. And so that's really what I strive to do with baking. It's kind of teaching those little tricks and hacks that you don't get from culinary school, you know, that you get from working in these incredible bakeries that I worked in.
So do you have to be a chemist to bake?
I mean, you don't have to be a chemist, but you have to understand the way ingredients work. For example, if you make pancakes and there's always lumps in it, it's usually a very simple explanation. A lot of people, I get this question a lot. And when we were talking this morning, it's like, why does my pancake batter always lumpy? And I asked, well, the recipe calls for melted butter, right? Yes. Are you using cold milk? Most of the time, people just take the milk out of the fridge and use that with the melted butter. That's going to cause your butter to solidify and make big lumps of butter in your batter instead of using
Oh.
room temperature or warm milk.
Ah, you're using your Kepler, somebody would
Ah,
say in
yes.
the Yiddish old
So,
language here. Okay, okay, je comprends, madame. All right, so
exactly.
um,
Exactly. So just
oh,
understanding the way ingredients kind of, you know, fold together and create that magic.
now this book, this is a serious endeavor here. Is that have you written other books?
Not yet. I mean, I hope to. Actually, my dream is to have a show on TV, if I'm being completely honest, and bake with everyone.
Oh, well, I know somebody that produces TV shows and stuff. I don't know. Wait a second, that might have been me.
I know.
I made a show nowadays, here and there. So tell us some of the things that are in the book.
So the first 100, I would say the first 100 pages is really my pride and joy of this book, which is not the part that has the photography or the great recipes, but it has an entire master recipe section, and it focuses on 10 main ingredients to create 100 recipes. And so that first 100 pages really like lays down the law, sort of speak, because it tells you what ingredients to have in your pantry so you can make anything at any time, what tools you need as a baker to set up, you know, professionally in your kitchen so you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on bakeware. If you have those 13 items that I list in there, you can make way over 200 to 300 recipes very easily. So we kind of lay down the fundamentals first, and then we go into the master recipe section, which I love. So I teach you, for example, how to make a base cookie dough that then you can flavor with any add-ins that you want. I teach you how to make a base ice cream base that's just vanilla. So then if you want to make it chocolate or strawberry or orange or praline or whatever, you can go crazy and take that recipe and adapt it to whatever flavor you want. So that whole first section is really about master recipes, which are calibrated with baker's percentages to work no matter what you kind of do to it. And I would say that those are like the ones that lay down the building blocks for the rest of the book. So you'll learn how to make a pie crust and you'll learn how to make a custard. But then later on in the book, we'll make that custard into like a chocolate flavor for a different type of dessert, or we'll introduce a new ingredient into the pie crust to kind of play with the texture. So yeah, I would say the first 100 pages is really my favorite part. So a fun example I'll give you is I talk about always having granulated sugar in your pantry as your staple ingredient. And the reason for that is because if you run out of the other sugars and you have that one, you can make light brown sugar, dark brown sugar, vanilla sugar. You can make powdered sugar. You can do all of that from granulated sugar. Heavy cream is another one like that. That's really awesome, where you can make butter, buttermilk, sour cream, creme fraiche, all of those things from just heavy cream. So that's kind of like the magic, I would
And
say.
whipped cream. Did you
And
say
whipped
whipped
cream, of
cream?
course. Let's not forget the whipped cream.
Yeah, but the of course is the point of that most people don't know. Because who know that you can make whipped cream, your own whipped cream from heavy cream,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
These are, I think they're like miracles when somebody finally realizes that they didn't have to go and buy a can of whipped cream, that they could have done it in how do you make whipped cream?
How do you make whipped cream? So whipped cream, the fancy way is called crème chantilly in French, chantilly cream. And it's always uses a high percentage fat, heavy cream, so heavy whipping cream generally. And then you want to use powdered sugar, which has a little bit of cornstarch in it. And it also sweetens it, so it binds the cream together. And I generally add some vanilla as like, the flavoring.
So is that when you say heavy cream? So if I go to the supermarket and I buy, usually remember it's usually in those
Or
little things kind of thing.
mhm.
It's just heavy cream. I mean, I can get that heavy cream in a regular supermarket. I get the heavy cream. I take it. I put it in a bowl, a big bowl, because it's
A
sort of
cold bowl
a whole
helps.
what kind of bowl?
Cold one.
A cold bowl.
Yeah.
So you put your bowl in the refrigerator?
Yeah. So if you really want your cream to whip up
These are
fast,
the little tricky things here.
yeah, see, you see? I'm full of little tricks.
You put the bowl in the refrigerator, yeah.
Yes, because if the cream is very cold, it'll whip up a whole lot faster.
Oh my God. What do you think about those people that use those machines? Like, to make, you got the beating machines, you got these Cuisinart machines. What do you think about those kinds of things?
So I believe you should be able to make just about any recipe by hand. And you don't have to use a KitchenAid to do it. However, when we're talking about making brioche, enhanced doughs, breads, things like that, I love to use a stand mixer because it's just, a lot easier than a lot of elbow grease, especially if you're making a whole bunch of them. I don't like hand mixers, like the one that you just hold by hand that has those little beaters on it. I don't like it. I rather use my hands and my whisk to do that. It doesn't mix properly. There's no paddle to it, so you can't cream anything together. The only thing you do is add air into things. So I would say either use a stand mixer or use your hands.
You're going to be speaking, I'm not sure when you're going to be doing a presentations at Williams and Sonoma.
Oh, yes.
And so I went down there. You were going to do something, and guess it got postponed. In any case, but I did go. Okay,
I'm
because
so sorry
I
about
didn't.
that.
No, don't be so sorry. I'm so happy because
Oh,
first of all, I'm still recovering and whatever from COVID. I mean, I've been home. I put on 30 pounds. I've been cooking. I love the food. And but who knew there's when I went to Williams Sonoma, I said, look at all these different types of things that are going on in there, and coffee makers and this and that. I mean, food is a big deal. That place
yeah.
was packed with people, and
Well,
everybody,
that's good to know.
there's no smile, there's nobody unhappy in that store going
How
in
could you be unhappy walking around Williams Sonoma? I just don't think it's possible.
there.
It's like my Mecca. It's like my heaven. Like you can't.
And I didn't realize because I want to get them involved. They're an extraordinarily sustainable company, and we do the Peace Day concerts and environmental climate and Mother Earth concerts, and they're a very sustainable company. One
Mhm.
of the leading ones, the part of their whole corporate structure in the whole wide world. So, I mean, it was just a marvelous experience. So I'm looking forward to, I don't
Was
know.
that your first time at Williams Sonoma or just that
I had
location?
been there a long, the reason I said pre-COVID, before COVID, I mean, it's the one in the Columbus Circle.
Mhm.
I had been there a long time ago, but I don't know, for somehow I was always the man who schlepped all my family's furniture and clothes and utensils. I was the one who kept everything from historic, like 1803. I have so much stuff. So I don't have to really go out and buy hardly anything. you know, when you see some of those blenders that are in 46 different colors nowadays, um, I just have always had a lot of stuff, had, you know, things. So for me, and then during this time, I seem to get more involved with cooking and you know, maybe even more unusual cooking than just a hamburger. Things. In any case, you're doing really good. The book is gorgeous, but I don't know why you didn't invite me to take all the photographs. See, because I imagine, what do you do with that cake after you take photographs of it? Someone has to eat it, right?
Yeah, somebody does. So I had like a buffet of desserts. I had to bake over 100 recipes within like 6 days. It was insane. It
Oh
was
my God.
very crazy. So all my neighbors from where I lived in North Carolina at the time kind of lined up and they all came to grab different goodies and different things from the table because it was a lot of things to bake within just a few days.
Great stuff. Let me add one more recipe I would like to ask, and the book is gorgeous. The pictures are gorgeous, and congratulations on it. We'll throw in some pictures here and some stuff over this conversation. Mondo bread. Now, Mondo bread is an old classic, I know, in my family and history, but I've never made Mondo. If I'm afraid to make Mondo bread because I would eat the whole Mondo bread. The Mondo bread would not, no one would ever get to see it besides me. So, so my question is, how do you make a nice Mondo bread?
So Mondo bread is oil based. So the trick is that there's no butter and it's made with oil so that it's kosher so that you can have it kind of, for Shabbat and things like that. So the trick is that because there's a lot of oil in it, you want to stream in the oil into the rest of the ingredients as you continue to mix them so that the dough doesn't scramble, so it doesn't look broken. So that's really the most important part. And it's very easy. It's very similar to actually biscotti where you kind of shape it into like a large log and then you just let it bake for like 40 minutes. And once it's hard enough that you can slice it, then you slice it into those pretty mandel bread kind of shapes or biscotti shape, and you bake it for just a little bit longer on every side. And I actually really love the mandel bread that's in the book. You can switch it out and make it with prune paste and you can very easily kind of create different variations of it. The one I did was just mini chocolate chips. But it is a very good one. It's not in my culture, to be honest. I just really love the recipe, so I wanted to have it in there. But for me, it was mostly Moroccan desserts and Sephardic Jewish. So we mostly made like things with almond paste a lot of like almond paste cigars that have, kind of like a honey syrup and things like that.
I love those almond horns. Those horns,
Yes.
the chocolate on the end, number
Yeah.
one dessert for me. I
Yeah.
go berserk over those.
Yeah.
I go nuts. Right now, I can barely talk. I'll be honest with you. I am so hungry. I am like Sal. I'm like out of control. So thank you very much. What's your website?
So my website is Bake It with Mel. I didn't get a chance to tell you. So aside from the book and the competitions and owning a bakery before, my true passion is teaching people how to bake and teaching them how to build their own baking arsenal. And so I built a company kind of around that with baking kits that's kind of similar to like Blue Apron, but for baking. And so it has all the tools, utensils, everything they need to create these kind of Instagram trending recipes. And then I also have a subscription club where we bake together on a private Zoom every month to learn different techniques and recipes from the book.
Right on. And so where do people learn about these things?
Bake It with Mel.
All right, it's all on there. .com.
.com.
Okay. Mel, thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Can I say life is short and it's up to us to make it sweet?
You sure can. You can say whatever you want. I'm crazy about you. All right, thanks, Mel.
Thank you.